Hello, hello. Let's I think it's adjusted. All right. I think this thing's on. See if I have audio. Looks like I do. Sweet. All right. We are live. Welcome to Vlog Thursday. And if you've seen the thumbnail, that is measuring in Fahrenheit. It is well, that was even from the other day. It's way colder now than it was then. That was pointing it at the ground when it hit 3 degrees, and it then went to 11 below zero. So yeah, greetings from Las Vegas. That is a warmer place. That is a much warmer place. So I am here freezing, and I got some blankets on me, like, got them all trying to keep me warm here. We'll start out with the stuff while people start gathering up here. There was an emergency here in Michigan. We had the gas distribution plant had an explosion, and we had to go under emergency order, and watching people have meltdowns over this was great. It was really crazy. So what happened is they have a meltdown at one of the natural gas plants, which broke the supply chain of pumping natural gas into the system. So they told everyone as a state emergency to turn your heat down to reduce the pressure on the system, and people lost their collective minds in Michigan. Screw those big corporate people, I'm turning my heat up, it's cold out, and away we go. So yes, we set the thermostat to 65. I complied. We actually we already use zone heating at our office. We keep pockets of heat. That's because it's not the most expensive thing, but I try to conserve energy. Even my home is very well insulated, because I invested in insulation, because I think ahead. And I see a lot of these people complaining, and I'm like, you didn't invest in insulation. Like, you really should think about these things. Like, when I got this house, we took money and put it into insulating and making it a more energy efficient home. There's a lot of effort that was put into that. And the same thing with my building. We got the building and we put energy efficient stuff in there. And I'm not going to rant too much about this, but it's just anything. It's planning, it's forward thinking. It's like, yeah, just do those things and you'll have much less problems. You'll save money. And you won't worry as much about like pipes freezing and bursting, which is a real problem. The schools have been closed for the last 3 days here in most of Michigan right now. So yeah, that's a problem. We chose to keep our business open, but we chose to use space heaters so we could keep the heat at a minimum and not freeze too much. And we just dressed warmer at work. We actually started looking more like the hacker types, with the balaclava and the gloves. I thought about posting it like, ooh, we look like these the hackers look in the movie now, because we're wearing warm clothes all day at work. And a more unfortunate but related was our DC 313, the hacker club thing we had. Yeah, that didn't happen either. So yeah. Marvel SoC Wi-Fi bug. We covered it in the SMLR. I just didn't have time to really do a video on it. The other problem is it's a video I also kind of omitted doing because of the lack of detail, because it's a very bad bug. If you're not familiar with the Marvel SoC bug, there's a bug in the Marvel chips. We tossed it around on the SMLR podcast I do, but the problem is there's no proof of concept because it's so problematic of a bug. So it's kind of like, hey, there's a bug here. Hey, we're working on a fix. Hey, it's really bad. We're not going to go any further than that. So it would have made for a really short video versus the Cisco bug, which I chose to cover, is one of those things where there's a lot to that, and there's a proof of concept. There's a GitHub repository. So I chose that. And this is a hard thing for me because if I wanted to dedicate more time to it, because I'm a voracious reader, I spend a lot of time testing, reading, and doing these things, so I could make more videos about that, but I'm trying to figure out a balance on the channel. Do I want to make a separate YouTube channel just for all the news topics so I don't clutter up my channel with all the tutorials? So I try to find a balance in between here, but I listen to feedback from all of you to tell me what balance really works. So yeah, good plan for now. Yes, like Schmarvin said, it's common. I actually have no active. Well, I have. Our client base is strange. I can't say I have no clients with it. I have no known clients that have that. So I say known clients because we have a lot of one-off jobs we do for people, and I don't necessarily because we're not being paid to do so, and they're not like a managed client. So sometimes we're one-off to go fix a thing for a customer, and that doesn't necessarily mean we know their entire network stack. We'll offer to audit it, but sometimes when we just remote in, if it's not part of the scope of the work and they don't plan on, we encourage them, we follow up with them maybe later to become a managed client, but we don't know. So I don't know exactly how many people that would quote unquote be my client have those routers, but definitely zero of our managed clients have, because we keep everything up to date with them. Upgrade them to USG depends. The USG may not have all the features they want, so there may not be a solution for them. Related to someone asked about Bitwarden, I have not had time to test a bit Bitwarden. It's on my to-do list. At the moment, I have been busier than usual. It's been really hard to keep up with the inflow of work, outflow of work, and everything. But that's also why I am working on it. Maybe he's watching this live stream right now. Hi, Brett. Brett's coming on to help manage in some of the growth of the company, because I'm going to have to put some more people in place. So we brought Brett on, and today was his onboarding, so we were kind of busy with some of that on having him. He's going to help with some of the structured things and some of the expansion plans we have, especially in the MSP space. And doing client follow-up and building a lot of solid processes for those, and building those solid processes and documenting. It's not like we don't have the processes, it's some of the way that we've documented them. So it's going to benefit everyone, not just my company, because some of this is going to be stuff that's going to be brought onto the channel for talking about and talking points for internal processes in a more documented, generic way. So I'm really working towards the focus so I can work a little bit more on YouTube, and I just got to hire some more people and bring my other staff, just has to constantly be brought up on some of the things that I do, so I can delegate those tasks. How they got hacked episode where you talk about small businesses and what was their made of that. I don't think you've ever seen on YouTube. Yes, the how they got hacked is still one of those projects that I've got on the back burner because I need to get enough people together to make it all happen. So I've actually reached out to, in my security circle of friends, I have a lot of them that want to participate in it. I have the domain. There's no website there, but I do own the domain, howtheyGotHacked.com. And that's going to be a future project where I cover, and this is my idea for this, and a lot of people like this. I'm going to cover, one, debriefs of how a hack occurred. And my goal is to interview red teams and put this together. So I interview the red teams, we talk about we genericize everything, so everything's completely anonymized, where there's not the point of this talk and podcast, whatever you want to call it, I'm not sure what format it's going to be in, is going to be how they got in, what they did when they got in, how they were discovered, and how it was remediated. Basically, that's the same story that's going to be told over and over again for each task that occurs. So it's going to be a lot of fun doing this. It's going to be, the goal is to not scare you, but maybe scare you, but certainly educate you when you're done. So you'll have a good, clear understanding of, this is the attack that occurred, this was the threat surface, this was how they got in, this was how they made those changes, and this was the end result of this. These are the ramifications the company faced, these were the remediation steps that were taken. And by the way, I have red team friends, we've talked about this, there are no remediations. Sometimes the company flipped the switch, went out of business, closed. That was it. They didn't survive it. So that's going to be very interesting. Let's see. I love to work for you, but require certs degrees. Yeah, that's common. A lot of places do. Finding a job in MSP space when you can't afford a cert degree but have the skills. Keep applying. Talk to them. Make offers. That's my advice for that. I'm not gonna, because weird thing, I'm not the best person to ask for career advice, because my career path is way outside of the norm, because I run a business for the last 16 years. So my career path is harder to juxtapose against yours if you're trying to get a job somewhere, because I've been working in tech since 1994. So it's a little bit different, and I've always just leveraged connections I had and connections I made by the quote I love that I not trying to. It's one of those things like have skills so strong they can't ignore you. When I seen someone post that, I'm like, I kind of like that concept, and it's one of those things you kind of prove yourself. You get the skills, and it's hard to get inside some of these places, but you can. And but like I said, I've been working for myself for 16 years, so I know the job market has probably changed just a little bit, and so I'm not the absolute best career advice person. Formulate a checklist of the bad security practices small businesses. Sounds like a forum topic. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on there, and so much of it's basic. And one of the things we're going to be focusing on is we're going to expand our offerings to our clients when it comes to user training. That's another growth I'm going to be doing at my company, and we're going to be putting a good solid plan together so we can sell services that do training. This is a different aspect. This is not a technical job. This is a user security job. So that's something Brett's going to probably be helping us with, and we're going to coordinate at my company of how to do that. But those some of those same things. I mean, they're going to be YouTube tips as well, so there's going to be direct benefit on there. I've been doing a talk for years that will soon be posted on YouTube that I do at businesses. I've done this at events, at like B2B business events, like up on a stage, me talking. The name of the talk is called Protecting the Digital You, and it's a online guide to protecting the digital persona you create online and tips related to it. Sorry, I'm moving my blankets around, I'm still warming up. And so by doing that, that will also, all this bleeds into YouTube. Any of the things I do that are for my clients, I often will follow up. Hey, you can follow up with this YouTube video and rewatch the same talk again. So that's kind of fun stuff we do. How is the overall managed services? Is it better with more clients wanting better security measures? It's very different. So slowly people are warming up to the fact that they need better security, and they realize that they can't just set it and forget it. That's was really what we did in the earlier days, because you could set it and forget it. You could leave things, and the vulnerabilities were less. Now that the vulnerabilities are active, they're constant. The Cisco RV320 is an example. You have a very popular small business firewall that we know there's going to be a lot of exploits for, because people just set it and forgot it. And you need active management, so constantly reiterating this to clients, and they realize that the threat models are constant and evolving, and the fact that larger corporate companies double down on security more than they have in the past. So that leaves the small business market that I'm in, or even the mid-sized markets, more vulnerable, because they're not investing as much in security, so they become a bigger target for hackers. For to make the jump financially, do have small photo, video, media clients, but yeah, it's hard starting out, there's no doubt. So let's see. I started out my company with no money. I opened my own company at 25. Before that, I was manager 18 of IT company. Awesome, congratulations. I regret not starting it even sooner. I think I was 26 when I started this company. I think that's 25 or 26 when I started. However old I was in 2003. I don't think about those things as much. Mail outs, flyers, and security tips. It's hard. White brick. Which white brick bothers you? Oh, that one. Yeah, isn't that weird? There's a couple random white bricks in here. You are correct. There's nothing on it. It's not painted. It's just, there's that one, and there's one over there, and there's more out of your view above my head. There's some random white bricks they chose for styling. I guess I didn't build it. So, yeah. Yeah, working in retail is a pain. Sorry about that. Oh, that's my wife. Why are you commenting as that YouTube channel? I just realized who's commenting on that. Hack the brick, yeah. Did I eat that as a YouTube thing my wife was working on at one point in time? Anyways. Yeah, find smaller businesses. That's going to be where you start out that. So another thing, and I think this needs to be covered better, is SD-WAN. And I say that because I've emailed back and forth with a few people, and they're assuming things work at different layers of the protocol stack different than they do, and this is where SD-WAN comes in. And I probably will do some explainer videos, and this is something I'm thinking about even in the future of my channel here, is hiring animators to help animate as I talk some of the relationships to this, because what people keep assuming is that, oh yeah, if I have two, there you go, yeah, use that account, honey. It's my wife, Kathleen Lawrence, if you couldn't tell by last name. SD-WAN is a lot different and than just load balancing, and it's different again than when you aggregate connections together. And there's a lot of, and I get it, the assumption makes sense. Like if you're starting out and you don't understand the protocol stack and how TCP/IP delegates things and how firewalls work, so you have two different connections. You're like, okay, I have two 100 meg connections. Does that mean I have 200 meg of connection? No, it's not quite that simple. You can load balance where you send some connections out on there, and that will work to an extent. So when I say no, there's always someone who points out that I'm wrong because I said no. But if I said yes, there's the other side of people that point out that I'm also wrong. And I'm like, I know it aggregates in a certain way. It depends on the application level. But that's where things like SD-WAN, it's sometimes treated as a buzz term, but it's been around for a while as other names. But what SD-WAN is going to do is create at the layers level, and there's some open source tools to do this. It's just really complicated to set up. It creates a solid pipe out of these, so you still only have one IP address, but are able to aggregate the bandwidth. And this type of thing also allows for the failover to be seamless. And I'm going to case in point like Cradlepoint. So people who aren't familiar with the Cradlepoint ones, they're one of the backup devices you can have. And the way those work is very simple. You take the device, and let's say I have a call connection and I've got two connections going through. That's a single TCP stream is the call. Well, if one of the connections fall when you're using SD-WAN, you don't notice it. When there's a failover, there's a drop in packets and a reestablishment of connection over here at the other fail point. That's your standard failover. You drop the connection, it has to find a new route. Because it's finding a new route, it drops and moves, and there's issues that can come about that, like pauses. It doesn't happen in a more immediate. So this is kind of the way I want to break into some of the SD-WAN features and some of that work. So because it's working at different levels, it's something that people need to understand. So when they start to talk about their goals, if they have all the tool sets in there, they can better understand how to deploy these. Oh, let's see. What else we got here? Suggestion for bribing compatibility skills. I can't really work because Bill, age and lack of papers. I feel foolish by just walking around asking for a job. Go ask around for a job. Don't feel foolish. That is a strong piece of advice I will give you. Do I think pfSense and untangle firewalls will overtake Cisco? Not really. There's different markets. There's different levels of support they want. There's different levels of things. There's going to be corporate people who just have a box to check on certain things. So no, there's always going to be a mix in the market, and I don't want a monoculture of. I would like a more open source market, but I don't want a monoculture of everyone just uses one firewall. And case in point is we'll roll back to that Marvel SoC chip. So Marvel brags about being in millions and millions of devices with their Wi-Fi because they're a really, really popular Wi-Fi chip. Well, this is where monoculture becomes a problem. We have settled that these are amazing chips, but the other side of that is these amazing chips now have made it in all devices. They found the flaw, and now all of our devices are affected by this, at least a majority of them because of the popularity of chips. And it's the same problem when you have firewalls. One, you can run into the problem of a lack of innovation, and that's kind of what happened. I mean, Microsoft got a monopoly on Windows. That caused some stagnation in the innovation side of it because the market pressure was so small from other competitors because there really weren't any. These are some of the problems where monoculture in general, and matter of fact, we have a discussion about that. I'll reference the SMLR podcast again, because what do we say in that? We have the video, the title of our 2 episodes ago, I think it was monoculture is cancer. And it's just things, if you build everything on a single entity, if there's a flaw in that one and too many people are using it, or that one has pushed out all competition, it can stagnate and become a flaw. Now, this doesn't apply to everything. This is not some hard, fast rule that means that we should just have a diversity of all things, but it is when it comes to things like firewalls and stuff like that, I think it's an important aspect to think about. Yeah, I still have no problem selling, using, and deploying untangles. So those the untangle firewalls are nice. Their dashboard is nice. It is a good thing. But it can't do data center level routing pfSense. I don't know about if you're right there. I guess it depends what you're asking. What is it that you need pfSense to do that it can't do? Now, there's limitations to everything. Hey, thank you, Oscar, for throwing some money out there. Yeah, don't put your eggs in one basket. We've had the same for a while, haven't we? But pfSense, it kind of depends what you want to do. To say it won't do data center stuff is kind of, it will. I guess it depends. What is the data center that you need? So if you look at the projects that are being run by Facebook, Microsoft, like at your Azure data centers, they are using custom Linux kernels to do their routing. They're also doing routing, when you look at Facebook, Azure, Google, they're doing routing at a level that is not anywhere else in the market. So they've had to do some very, very custom things because they're not like they can buy off the shelf things. They're routing at a speed that is incredible, that is not even at your average data center. So very different problem to solve. So it kind of depends on the use case, but yes, they do make pfSense for and is used in certain data center applications. But if you have a specific use case, there may be something that it doesn't work for. How do you feel about using WebDAV over VPN solution for OpenVPN with the client software for remote access, shared drive, shared network resources? I guess I would, Oscar, I'm going to need a little bit of a clarification on that, of what you're asking. Like, you want to connect to something that's WebDAV after you connect to VPN? I love OpenVPN in front of everything. That's our go-to. When you, like, if you come to our firewall, everything is OpenVPN before you get to any services. I don't expose RDP, or, well, we don't even use RDP ourselves, but even for our clients, we don't expose RDP. We don't leave things out open like that. It's least privilege is always the rule. So what do we really need access to? And can we tunnel it all through a VPN first, so there's a smaller threat surface, that threat surface being OpenVPN? Because if you have everything tunneled down to one thing, you have a very narrow place that you have to keep up to date. You have to worry about the other applications, but yeah, it's a lot narrower when you only have one port open on your firewall. You only have one thing to babysit. I haven't dived into pfSense yet, but I am wondering if it's worth a separate machine running pfSense for the extra features, reliability of the USG. If you don't need those features in the pfSense is a awesome Swiss Army knife of tools for exploring networking, packet capture, doing all kinds of fun stuff. If you don't need all that, then don't use it. If it's not a use case for you, then don't use it. I am actually, at the moment, you guys are watching this at my house, going through a USG, because I don't even have a VPN at home. I guess I'm pretty damn boring. Matter of fact, my home's a flat network because I don't have IoT devices to separate. They don't exist in my house. So, for me, USG works fine for home. It's a great product. pfSense, though, Swiss Army knife, man. You have every bell and whistle. But if you're never going to use it, why spend the money on it? Why even go through the trouble of configuring it? If you're a tinker, awesome. If you have a higher end use case for it because it runs your business like it does mine, awesome. Those are great use cases. But if you go, I just want to route traffic and watch Chromecast, which is what happens at Tom's house, USG works great. Let's see. Hot sauce of the week? I'm not sure, man. There are so many. I will tell you the new Tequila Ghost. We got to review this stuff. That's one of my new favorites. So you can look it up. If you have a RAID Z 6 drive senior, what non-cache reads? I don't know. Your speeds are going to be varied greatly. The FreeNAS forum is way more helpful than me when it comes to speeds. There's lots of people who spend a lot of time speed testing, more time than I have to do so. They're going to be able to answer it, but then all the factors are going to be factored into this. How fast is the backplane? How fast is the controller using? Does the controller itself have memory on it? Does the hard drives have caching on there? You can see this spirals out of control very quickly to determine actual read and write speeds of that system. And there's people who spend a lot of time thinking about that in the FreeNAS forums. I highly recommend the FreeNAS forums for that particular topic. Yeah, USG is kind of a fit and forget. You can push firmware updates really easily, so yeah, it's nice. It works well. It's a nice, simple solution. We use it at a lot of our small businesses that have no ports open, no real high-end needs with like, oh, we custom VPNs and all that. They just need the internet to work. So, when are you diving into Cadmium? Very soon. We've been playing. We had the Cadmium stuff out and on the desk, so it's there. We're testing it. We really like theirs. Their routers are basic but work really well. So we're going to be doing some videos on their routers probably first, because it's a really nice consumer product. It goes back to that. You need something basic. You need some 5.5 gigahertz and a 2.4 gigahertz all in one package. Cadmium actually sells some really nice devices. We're impressed with these things. They have a lot of cool features on them too. So low power FreeNAS build one out of an atom. You can, once again, go back to the FreeNAS forums. There's some good people there's people who put together some really good guides. I believe all the guides are under the forum title Will It FreeNAS, and that's a great place to check that out. All right. Yikes, I'll check that out. All right. Set it, forget it, diving into. Yeah, there's going to be, like this, the Cadmium networks, and I got to do another firewall review. I'm going to lay out a few different devices. If I have time by this weekend, I'll do that. I'm just have a lot of client projects I have to do. There's a challenge when it comes to doing all these, trying to get them all done in time. So that's one of those things, like I want to get all this stuff done, but there's that challenge of getting it all done in a timely fashion, which I feel really bad. Cadmium Network sent me an awesome box of stuff, and we really have not time to test it. Like I said, I'm working on that. VPNs, I don't really use. I've done PIA VPN. I like them. I use them. I don't have a reason to use other VPN services, and I just don't feel like taking the time to check them. The reality is you can't trust any of the VPN services. I thought about doing a video on this. I have very mixed emotions on this. There was a VPN company that provided logs to the FBI recently. I am so happy that they caught this guy. He was a horrible human being doing horrible things to people, to a very specific person. He was using a VPN to hide his tracks. The VPN company was cooperative with the FBI and nailed this person. VPNs offer limited protections. The only thing you're really doing is kicking the trust down the road a little bit to the VPN provider. So you're going, I don't trust Comcast, AT&T, whoever my internet provider is. You're just moving the trust code, but I trust this VPN company. There's no real way that I can honestly give you a good evaluation. I can tell you things like, hey, what is this company known for? What do they do? But it's still very kind of a subjective thing at that point, because unless I get to visit their data centers and really understand the company and hope that the day after I visit their data centers they change nothing or hid nothing from me, that they remain to be the same way they are. VPNs are important when you're going like from my office to wherever my laptop is. Those type of VPNs are important, but when it comes to VPNs to protect your privacy from your ISP, you're only just saying I trust the VPN more than I trust my ISP. That might be a valid answer, but it's also not exactly a subjective review that I can give you. I use it to set up a remote client. How do you keep your network secure with remote VPNs? You have rules. We actually have more than one VPN in my office. That's part of it too. So we have the if you want privacy, don't use the internet. We'll leave that there. So we have more than one VPN, and that way we segment out. Even our VPNs are segmented. For example, I have a really restrictive VPN that has a single rule. It comes in from my phone, I connect it, and it can only talk to our phone system. It has a firewall rule in pfSense. It says you're allowed to talk to the phone system. Done. That's it. Doesn't talk to anything else. So if you were ever to acquire access to that VPN, you will be sorely disappointed because you still need a username and password to connect to my phone system. So that's all it's really for. And this is because I'm a little bit security minded, maybe a lot security minded. So I've built the VPN. It has a single use case. It has that. Then I have a secondary VPN. That VPN has a very high entry password, is kept down more securely, and less people have access. Only a couple people in my company have access to that VPN, so there's very little of it out there because that allows access to our internal networks at my office that we keep very secure. So that's how you can use VPNs to segment things. You don't have to use one. This is an advantage I like with pfSense. You can set up more than one VPN server, and by doing that and putting it on different ports, not that I think security through obscurity is a real answer, but hey, every little bit helps. So having those separate, I even have separate users. I have users for those VPNs that are on the phone only system, and we have VPNs that are for the bigger systems. This also allows people who are outside contractors for me to call from our phone number and act upon our behalf as if they're there by having on their phones, but that does not give them access to everything that's important to us in our system. It gives them a narrow list of access to the other things. So we got Slinky 1284. I love this channel information you give. I look forward to see what 2018 has in store. Keep us great work. Thank you very much, Slinky 1284. I think I'm only 1,000 away from 50,000, so awesome. That's exciting to me as well. So I'm really happy about that. I have looked on my channel for building one. I built it in Linode. I could just as easily built it in DigitalOcean. I have a video on how to do that. I have a video on how to build your own VPN server. Let's say that. But once again, if you build your own VPN server, and let's say you use DigitalOcean, by the way, follow my affiliate link. I have an offer code. Help the channel out. If you do something like that, you now are trusting DigitalOcean as opposed to your cable provider or whoever's in between. Just FYI, you're just moving the trust over to somewhere else. Gonna be 77. Thank you, Uncle Joey. That's awesome. It is far from 70. You're about, because we were at negative 30 with the wind chills, so very different worlds we live in there. We live on the same planet, but a very different world, it feels like. I am not giving Proxmox a shot. I have repeatedly, and will continue to repeat this, my friend Jay LaCroix over at learnlinux.tv. Great, really smart guy. He uses my studio. We share space, and he has a whole series on Proxmox. Go watch it if you want Proxmox videos. I have given up on Proxmox. I'm letting Jay run with Proxmox. He's good at it. He uses it in his lab. He uses it in production. He's very smart. Wicked smart. Wrote like a couple books on things. LearnLinux.tv. He's in my subscription list for channels. He does Proxmox videos. Do I have trouble recommending? It comes down to use case. What is the use case? That's where all of our ideas start. That's also where we do things. We go, what is the use case? And we move from there. We have Netgear ready NASs, we have Synologies, we have lots of free NASs. Matter of fact, we have one client that has both. We use their older Netgear ready NAS, which works perfectly fine. Sitting on one side, we have a large FreeNAS to the other, and the FreeNAS dumps its files over to the Netgear ready NAS as part of the solution because they had it existing. It works fine, so why throw it away? So we have all kinds of solutions for clients. We think a lot about those solutions. We don't cookie cutter everything to be identical. So what we recommend depends on what that client needs. So, yeah, closer to negative 77 here. That is true. We are closer to negative 77 than 77. Another dumb question. VPN server running on a dedicated machine versus VPN and USG. Go for it if you want. Please note when you do that, you have gateway issues. Not gateway issues, gateway complexities. If you want it to act as a gateway and route, you have to add extra routes in that system to do that. It's way more complicated than I feel like talking about right now. Oops. So I've heard that. Yeah, everyone loves asking me about Proxmox. Jay even asked me, he goes, I'm not getting the views I thought I'd get on Proxmox. I said, I don't know. People ask me about it. I can't do a video without people saying Proxmox. If I do any video on virtualization, people go, Proxmox. And I'm like, that other people are doing it. Do I have contractors in the Chicago area? Not at this moment. Most of the time when I contract people, it's never for physical, it's always for virtual work. I have a trusted group of friends, IT friends, that I contract for things, and they take care of projects, or I just delegate it out to their businesses. So it's rarely on-site. On-site is pretty much just restricted to the Detroit area right now for us. Turnkey Linux VMs. I don't know if you trust the source of the turnkey Linux VM. Cool. I guess I need a more expansion on that. Hey, Chicago, fellow freezing person. Awesome. -50 sounds about right. All right, had to block that call. It's the school calling me to let me know they don't have school tomorrow. Sorry about that for if that came through. I have no way to shut off my phone with when I'm doing a live video. I'm located in Chicago, 50 degrees. Do you do MSP services in companies outside of Chicago? Really, we're focused on Detroit for MSP, direct MSP services. We can do MSP services as long as there's no on-site involved. I just don't have availability to do the on-site side of it when we're out of the state right now. We're working on that. Hey, people like Mint. Mint is not bad at all, so... Yeah, me and Jay might do a collab. We were talking about doing a, we're going to figure out how to do a video, Proxmox versus XCP-ng. By the way, we scripted a little bit of video, like we and him tossed the ideas back and forth on a whiteboard when he was at my office. Fun thing, it's really hard because they're in parity with each other. I understand why people ask about Proxmox versus XCP-ng. Both open source, both good projects. Both work really well, and both have almost tit for tat. Like, they have a really solid parity of feature sets. So, yeah, they're great. Both good tools. It's one of those, hey, they're really, really competitive with each other. They're excellent. They're both good products. I have nothing bad to say about either one of them. I have chose XCP-ng. I'm really happy with it, but there's not a reason you shouldn't choose Proxmox. Matter of fact, for a home lab, there is a couple reasons you may want to choose Proxmox because it's lighter weight. When it comes to large-scale expandability, this is the only real difference we find. XCP-ng, because of Xen Orchestra, Xen Orchestra's got an amazing interface. It's really top-notch, and for scalability-wise, and we have some clients that have some very large deployments of XCP-ng. Wow, you can really manage a huge number of not just hosts and VMs, but the overall, like even separate pools of networks across numerous data centers in a single dashboard. That's kind of a XCP-ng exclusive thing. Let's see. Yeah, how come ice is 1 degree colder than, I don't know. It's just weather, man. It's magic. I don't want to think about it. It's not really magic. It's just freaking cold. Yeah, bridging projects. Haven't done any lately. We need to do a few more. We need to do a whole video on bridging with Cadmium networks. Moving from ESXi to XCP-ng. There's no real easy way to move from it. You just got to back up your VMs and restore them on XCP-ng. Use Markham Reflect. Use Clonezilla. Whatever software works for moving them over. What kind of UPS, and do I have a controller for it? My very first rack video, or maybe my second one, I don't know. It's covered in my rack video. I don't remember the model number. I'm bad at it. I can't remember things like that. We got it for really, really cheap. It's a few $1,000 Dell UPS, and I don't know the model number at all. We got it really cheap because the front cover was destroyed. Customer didn't want it, and so we acquired it for really not much money. Yep, still using Pop! OS. I don't distro hop much. Sorry for those of you that don't. Good news is Jay does. Learn Linux TV. I'll promote my friend's channel again because he does a lot of distro reviews, more so than me. I'm kind of boring in that aspect. I'm a firewall hopper, but not really a distro hopper. Yeah, I'm glad they fixed the pipe, and I'm glad there's dirt over it because it would freeze too. Yes, so the pipe project is done, and it sucks because it's expensive. I paid for it though, but whatever. I have a client who about to switch from Unitrends to Veeam. Unitrends wanted 9,000 a year for a maintenance contract. That's interesting. Um, with everything moving to web-based, it's a great time to use Linux. Now, that is something I've talked about with many times before with people, is the software development cycle is changing dramatically. No one's building a new widget for Windows. Everyone's building a new thing for the web, a web-enabled app and things like that. It just makes more sense. It makes the computer kind of irrelevant. And even for myself, I look back at where we were, where we are type things, having been in tech a long time. And the fact that I can just open a web browser, completely manipulate virtual machines, migrate them between machines, have a really snazzy interface to do all this, and I'm doing it all in a web browser that looks like an application. Why would I write an application that's got to be loaded on computers when I can do it all in a web browser? So yeah, everything is really truly going web-based. Dual boot Windows 10 Mint, it works fine. I never dual boot. So how do you become affiliated with iDrive PA Invoice? I don't know, reach out to them and say I want an affiliate link. Those companies are always happy to give you affiliate links. Oh, talking about I'm ready to set up gracefully shut down servers and the power comes back and they won't turn back on. Have you dealt with that? Yeah, that's just a matter of what is that stupid tool called? Nut. You can use that. There's different ways you can do it to shut down all your servers so they shut down properly. And an example is going to be you use a UPS monitoring tool that will then gracefully shut down your servers. Like you could do this. Well, if you scale up to larger number of VMs, you use something like Ansible. Send out the command, shut down all the servers. The UPS only has 10 minutes left. And yeah, that's obviously not a bad idea to do things like that. But the tool, a lot of different things have it. FreeNAS has it and everything else. So you have a UPS and then you just run the tool and there's a lot of UPSs that are compatible. I don't have a list, but there's methodologies that you can do this. Should be a BIOS option to turn the power on. Yeah. Thoughts on OpenSUSE? Not really. OpenSUSE is neat, but I'm not a big OpenSUSE fan, so I don't have a lot of thoughts on it. Oh, they're publishing WebDAV directly on there. I don't know if I trust the security of that. I'm going to throw it out there. Put a VPN in front of it. Try to read all the comments. Sorry, they're coming by me really fast here. You looking for a fast? So Anton is looking for a fast way to get up and running with Linux open source software. Load Ubuntu. That's the easiest way. That's the easiest OS to load. Yes, Synology uses Nut. It's an open source project for the UPSs. I forget what it is. It's an acronym. It stands for something that I can't remember at the moment. Oh yeah. Recently migrated to pfSense to VM on Unraid, works fine for me. Just wanted to mention that. There's actually, I didn't even realize this. Someone posted some links. Netgate has some write-ups for running Proxmox and some other virtualizations with their software. So yeah. So you can definitely virtualize it. I prefer to run it hardware, but yeah. Maybe I'll do another follow-up video on some of the corporate class firewalls versus there. Mostly it comes down to support and really integrated features that are really more polished than you'll get with some of the other ones. pfSense on a software VLAN can be problematic. There are challenges in setting it up for sure. Is SMLR still running? The last video published was 3 months. No, don't look for the videos for SMLR. We kind of gave up on it. They never really got any views, so we quit uploading them to YouTube. They're still syndicated, smlr.us. They're on all the podcasts, so anywhere that good podcasts are sold, you can get a copy of SMLR, or you can download it directly from smlr.us. We published every show. Sorry, I sound like a radio announcer doing that. But yes. Yeah, running pfSense on unrated. I mean, I don't care for virtualizing it. So, what was the best cheap firewall? I don't know. Whatever one works for you. The whatever one the cable company provides you. Network UPS tool. Thank you for figuring the acronym out. What do they call that when an acronym contains its own name as part of it? I'm not going to dwell on that. Yeah, network UPS tool. Consumer has been paying for VTD, but only has the virtualization servers that it really uses. Yeah. That's true too. Yeah, acronymception. Wine is one of them too. Look up wine and what kind of acronym it is. It's like I don't know, the name eludes me at the now. It's something funny. Well, I'm reaching close to the end of the beer, so I'm going to end this when the beer ends, which is probably about 15 minutes. I'm a slow beer drinker. I'm nursing it. Acronym. Anyways, what are the other questions you have for me at this live show? Maybe keep asking questions. Maybe I'll get more beer. Yeah, both are good. XCP-ng to Proxmox, both are good. Wine is not an emulator. That's it. That is what Wine stands for. And if you're not familiar with the Wine project, that is the project that allows you to run Windows applications on Linux, natively, not emulated as the namesake is. My furnace is gas. Natural gas is how most of them here in Michigan are. Yeah, artesian well. I don't know anything about well. We have city water. I have well water at the cabin that I visit where some of my family lives in far northern Michigan. Longest, I don't know, maybe a few miles. We haven't done any super long wireless bridges. Most of them have been relatively shorter. We've been talking to a company that's back and forth on a project that may be a bigger one. Let's see. Thank you, Philadelphia. Oh yeah. We turned things down to 65. Yeah, that's why I'm so cold. It's still chilly in my house. Was the LR fiber? No, it was not. How do you get bigger jobs and projects? I just talked about that in my video with Terry Bean, where I said start with an ask instead of an elevator pitch. The big projects, people buy from people they like. That's like the cliche thing to say, but what does that mean? Well, you have to get out there. You have to network. You have to constantly be talking to these people. It is a constant challenge to get clients. It is one of the expensive aspects of business in general, and what keeps some people from going in business for themselves is they don't want to handle the sales and marketing part. They only want to be the technical part. I myself lean greatly towards the technical part and don't really care for the sales and marketing part, but I know I have to do it as a necessity or I won't have jobs that are big. So I don't know if that's an easy answer, but it's a lot of people time. I'm going to be at an event at 8 a.m. tomorrow, networking with people and humans in a room because I need more business all the time. You kind of do it, so yeah. How often we use contractors? Quite a bit. Beer talk. What would I drink? This is a Voodoo Ranger Imperial IPA. I really enjoy this. I hope that helps. I like IPAs. I'm not pretentious. I just like the really strong taste of them. I know you're supposed to team of 9. Yes, we're a team of there's 9 people. So I guess I don't know if that's a question. You just want to know how many people there? How often do you hire people for your team, and do you have any position now in it? Not at this very moment. We hire on an as-needed basis. As the business comes up, we hire people. Simple as that. What would I do for a living if I weren't in tech? Well, that's a fun question. I don't know. I've always been a technician, so I'm not. Maybe I was a farmer when I was younger. I've worked on farm equipment, so maybe that. I don't know. I can't really think of a life outside of tech. Maybe farming. I go back to that. I don't know. Good news is, until the apocalypse. If we have an apocalypse, then I'll think about it. Let's see. Home lab, like any other bigger switches on your home lab. Do you like working on cars? I'm starting to notice that trend. Big nerds are often gearheads. I have built many race cars. I've built a lot. I could do a lot of rambling about that. I have motorcycles, old school 1970 Hondas are one of my things. I got a couple old Hondas that I race around out in the woods. If you look and dig out my personal channel, you find videos on that. Yes, I'm a gearhead. I have built muscle cars, numerous ones, like from engine up to rebuild stuff. So yeah, I've been a gearhead for a long time. I was like that when I was a kid. I was always building stuff. So it still, to me, is all technology. It's just different tech. It's mechanical, but same concept. Let's see, what else we got here? Have I looked at home assistant software? No, there's no IoT in my house. Hashtags for pretentious during beer talk. Yeah. What is Google ARM? I don't understand the question. I use it at home, works great. All right. Love your talks, business topics, getting clients, finances, and videos coming in the future for channels. You recommend starting your own business? I don't know, because I've never really looked for them, so I'm not saying they're not out there. I'm not aware of them, because I also don't search for them. My trend has been lately to watch videos on. Sometimes I don't watch as many tech videos. I watch architectural design videos because I want to build a new house. And so those are things I find interesting, and lots of randomness, cultural randomness I find on YouTube. Sales funnel management? Not really. We've been using our own system, which is basically following up with everyone using Invoice Ninja. In HubSpot, we use some HubSpot too for that. HubSpot's nice. Shout out from Grand Rapids. Awesome. Fellow Michigander there. Grand Rapids has that, what's that bar you guys have in Grand Rapids where it's a church turned into a bar? I've been there. It was a cool place. Link to your personal channel, Google Thomas Lawrence. That's, just Google my name. I don't know, like, maybe I'll post a link to it. Internet of Strings. That's funny. What else we got here? Xpenology is very easy to use compared to FreeNAS. Yeah. IoT, not even Chromecast. Oh, I have a Chromecast. I guess you want to call it IoT? I guess. I don't know. I have a flat network at home. That's not much to talk about. Who is my rep? Could I email their name for privacy? Our rep quit, and his is more or less forced us in a contract. Contact me, like email me or something, and I can get you my rep's name. Church Brew Works. Awesome. Hey, cool. So in Westland, Michigan. Yeah, that's right down the street from us. Awesome. Hello from Westland. And there's stuff to bring to have with you place before attending a B2B event. Business cards and an open mind, and don't just talk about tech. Start with the weather. I'm going to we'll be talking about the weather tomorrow because it's damn cold outside. So when I go to the business event, I'll be talking about all the fun stuff right there. Let's see. Do you recommend joining Chamber of Commerce? Yes. That is, I have been a member for 13 or 14 years. 14 years. Good projects with a Raspberry Pi, business or entertainment. I only have used my Raspberry Pi pretty much for our Pi shredding project and our emulation project for playing video games. That's my two Pi uses. You now have to describe a PewDiePie with every Chromecast. Sure do. Google Thomas Lawrence, an old British guy, came up. That's interesting. Do you have a video on security for IoT devices? I do. Type in IoT and pfSense, and I have videos talking about separating them on there. Yeah, so I'm not a big. I don't have a Raspberry Pi at home here, so Let me see. Can I even find myself to share the link with you? Let me find it, because the weirdest way I find my channel is actually by searching for my weird bicycle. Bicycling is one of my hobbies. So if I search for my bicycle, I usually find my channel. Oops, still didn't find it. I don't know. It's a pain for me to try and find it and switch, blah, blah, blah. Brett's been dealing with plumbing. Hi, Brett from Chittum Consulting. Hopefully your plumbing issues have been solved. Brett had plumbing problems too.
Tell Brett I said hi.
Yeah. Oh, my wife says hi, Brett, too. Let's see. So hopefully Brett's plumbing issues are all done. Alex, do you have a Windows Server AD at your office? If not, what servers do you use for user management? We don't have any Windows servers. We do not have federated user access. So we're using G Suite. I have to create a user there. Our Invoice Ninja system, I have to create a user there. Our remote management systems, each of them, I have to create users there. So we do not have federated user access. I just have a process of adding people as needed to those systems and removing them as needed. So it is a weird coincidence that my channel ends in NG. I did not know that. So you actually know something I didn't know. How do you set up Synology to back up a server? Going to be covering that. I have a series of videos I'm going to be doing on Synology, so that's definitely a thing that's going to happen. Are you using Google for cloud backups? No. I don't do any cloud backups at Google. We have some Azure stuff. I have a few clients with some AWS work, and I have some DigitalOcean clients. I don't think I have anyone else on Linode. So it's kind of scattered around. So I myself am not using Google for cloud backups. Let's see. I have discovered running through headaches with running Pi-hole through FTP Ubuntu server creates issues, but running the same network on a separate device works fine for me. Interesting. Can't trust Google. Self-hosted, OwnCloud or NextCloud? I think Nextcloud is the more up-to-date. Whatever one's more up-to-date. I don't use either one of them, but I think Tony from SMLR, my co-host on our podcast, he does use it. This is one of those things, like you see people build your own expanology. Yeah, play with these things. They're fun to play with. I don't do much Docker, but I know people who do. It's not really something I get a lot into, some of the Docker. My forums run on Docker. Join the forums, that actually is one thing I do run for my business that's Docker, is the forums. But Docker's a great tool. It's excellent. As someone just pointed out, if it fits your use case, it's not a bad product at all. It runs a lot of different services. It's a really neat way it works. Phil, my friend, has done a lot of Docker work, and I think so has Jay. My day-to-day job isn't really servicing Docker. Are you hoping to stay in your business as long as possible, or can you see selling the business in X years? Yeah, I don't have an exit strategy of selling the business. I can't picture not doing what I do. Therefore, selling the business is not part of a strategy that I've developed at all. It's not on my list. I'm not trying to sell out, cash out. I do this because I like to. I made a lot of money working in corporate. I make actually probably, my corporate market value is probably higher than my business market value. But the other side of it is my business is what I do and what I enjoy doing, so I plan to keep doing it. Do I ever look at Bitdefender? Not really. Yeah, Docker is amazing for scaling and scripting. It's an outstanding project. I started Docker a few days and then turned back and created more Linux VMs instead. So there's something to be said about each one of them. VMs are going to be much more heavyweight than Docker. Docker can be challenging at times, understanding how it bridges networking between the Docker containers and the primary VM that's hosting it or primary system that's hosting it. So there are some challenges even I've had in learning Docker, but once you kind of get some grasp on it, and I'm not at a grasping level where I can teach it, but I have the general idea of how it works and can use it. So once you get over some of those hurdles, Docker's, it's a great tool to learn. I mean, it's very popular, it's very lightweight comparatively, and it's scriptable and scalable when you have to build VMs and machines. Let's see. Docker swarms are great. Yeah, they're definitely cool. Is recommending rolling pfSense or VM also? You can run pfSense as a VM or hardware. Yeah, either way, it's not a bad thing. But there are obviously challenges when you run it in a VM. Oh, Bitwarden? No, I have not had a chance to look at Bitwarden. Do you have a favorite enterprise antivirus? No, I hate them all. I hate all the antiviruses. pfSense runs fine in a VM. Just watch for your network. All right. Marco NLD, thank you for the donation. I run on RAID and a few Docker containers, including pfSense and VM. Works fine for me. You made me smarter with your videos, so thank you. Thank you very much for throwing money at me. That always makes me happy. It keeps the beer flowing. Yeah, you can run it in a VM. There's just caveats and things like that. I only run it in VM for testing reasons. It's not my production. My production is hardware. That way I can take down my VM servers, do whatever, and I have no risk of losing internet. Yes, I know I could split it to multiple VMs and make it redundant. It's just easier running in hardware mentally for me. Yeah. Mechanical or memory keyboard? Ooh, I don't know, man. Hey, thank you, Uncle Joey, throwing some money at me as well for the pfSense videos. I like, and I don't think about them as mechanical or remembering, I like the keyboards on certain devices more than I like others. This ThinkPad X250 has a great keyboard. Makes me happy. pfSense on Matrix, pfSense VM for home lab purposes. Yeah. Yeah, if you screw something up, don't piss the wife off. That's true, too. Yeah, don't break the internet for the wife. They get angry. I was watching her cooking shows over there. Dude, if I nurse it any longer, I'll have to change my career title, all right? I'm done, but don't worry. I got this. A little bit of this. Video on redundant. It's on my to-do list. HA is tricky to set up, but yeah, it's one of these days. New Ice Age is coming. Yeah, it's an Ice Age, all right. Hey, wife acceptance factor. We'll go with that. What do I do when I have spare time? When I'm not playing with firewalls, bicycling is one of my hobbies. If you found my personal channel, you'll find weird videos of my recumbent touring bike that I have that's imported from Germany. And if you watch a handful of them, you'll see also I have motorcycle videos. I like motorcycles. So those are my spare time things.
My wife likes motorcycles too.
My wife likes motorcycles, and she thinks you guys should give advice for me to give to her for Valentine. About to swear about Valentine's Day, so.
Yeah, funny time.
But is there any other final round questions here? 45 drives NAS box. Awesome stuff. Definitely smiley face on that. She does have her own motorcycle. She has a motorcycle and I have one. So if you, so that's definitely a thing. We both have motorcycles. And I have 4 motorcycles. Well, I have 3 and she has 1. So, I don't know this for sure about the R210. Does it have AESNI? There's your kind of thing. She has bicycles too. She has motorcycles and that's more, my garage has got motorcycles and bicycles in it. So is that helpful? Yeah, she has a Savage, the Savage 650. S40 is, if you want to look up the exact model number. Yes, we're canceling Valentine's Day. I like this. I'm all for that. And she does have a recumbent bicycle as well. But she's not for canceling Valentine's Day, apparently. Worth a shot. I'll maybe we should start a change. What is that? Change.org and start a whole petition to cancel Valentine's Day because it's stupid. Oh yeah. Anyways, I am way off topic, so I'm going to start shutting this down here. You guys, please, if there's lots of questions, video suggestions, everything, forums.lawrencesystems.com. I encourage everyone there to, hey, this is a great place I plan to talk about things. So that's definitely, if you want to carry on the conversation, you want to ask a question, or I didn't answer a question here, but you want a more in-depth answer where I can leave you links and stuff like that, absolutely head over to my forums. You can look through me as a user on here, and you'll see I post pretty much every single day. I reply to a lot of things every day to people. So yeah, I like engaging with people on the forum because it's also a learning opportunity. Because your question may be the same as other people's questions, so when I answer it, I get to answer it for everyone that may be thinking the same thing, and it's been very good. So once again, thanks for the 140 some people, wow, that show up on this live stream and engage with me here. So you guys, I'm going to go watch some.
Baking shows.
Why do I do YouTube? Someone will know. Oh yeah, I'm not watching cooking shows, my wife. I just like sharing knowledge and engaging with people. YouTube's a lot of fun for me. I like teaching. Being a teacher, unfortunately, does not pay very well. My living requirements are higher than that of a teacher's wages. I don't know. So it's easier to do it on YouTube. It's a way I can geek out with people. It's the same reason I'm going to be hosting the event for the next DEF CON hacker meetup in Detroit. Is going to be at my office. That's going to be interesting. I'm inviting all the hackers to my office. Where else would they want to be? So, anyways, yeah, I just really like teaching. That's why I do YouTube. I have a lot of fun doing this. It's a passion and certainly a lot of enjoyment I get hanging out and talking tech with people. So, thank you for everyone here to hang out and talk tech with me. Once again, go ahead and I don't know about the DEF CON requests. Go to DEF CON. Yeah, all the hackers are going to come in through the back door. We'll set that up. That'd be funny. So yeah. Anyways, once again, head on to the forums if you want to continue the discussion, because I am ending it here and wherever the button is that makes this thing stop. And now I'm broke. I guess this one. Yep. Are you sure?